Okay, so this is from a book called Government Contract Law. The government makes a lot of contracts with a variety of people, but to make those contracts, they provide advertisements to people. And the advertisements are try to engage with the public to get them to contract with the government, federal, state, local, it doesn't matter. I think this is federal contract. So the contracts are basically all those things that have not been given a positive law citation. And the Office of the Revision Counsel, it clearly shows which titles are positive and which are not. Contracts, since they remove rights such as right to tort, they are not given a positive law citation, they're not constitutional, and they require each person to sign something in order to take away that person's individual rights. So under these contracts, to make a contract, you have to make it available to people to know that there is a contract, and they do this through advertising. So you can look at advertising as propaganda. You can look at it as the education system that's controlled by the federal government, or partially controlled by the federal government and controlled by the state, or controlled by the federal government to the extent that the money that comes from the federal government to the state for public schools comes with various obligations to the state. So it's another contract. When the federal government gives money to the states for public education, it's a contract that comes with rights and obligations, and the state has to abide by some federal standards, which is whatever information the federal government decides it wants the states to teach. This is why education, or one of the reasons why education's gone downhill, and they don't teach kids how to think, they teach them what to think, and they don't teach them about propaganda, deception, and contracts and rights and obligations and this kind of stuff. So one of the most frequent problems arising in this area concerns the distinction between an offer and an advertisement. Okay, so they advertise an offer to get you to contract. Advertisements are generally construed as invitations. So even if they say you have to, you have to, you have to, that's propaganda, but that's still an advertisement. It's an invitation to get them to let you off, to get you to let them to offer you a contract to get you to sign it. Okay, it's just deception. It's just another form of deception to get people to do things that the federal government wants it to do. I'm not sure where I found this book. I've been collecting material for years and years, so you could probably find this online. Government Contract Law, AD 8200 891. This is from 1988. United States Air Force, Air University, Air Force Institute of Technology, School of Systems and Logistics, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. This is probably more having to do with the federal government, or the military side of the federal government, making contracts with people to have them do work on a military post. Okay, because that's one of the things that they do. But it's the basic principle of constitutional separation of powers. So there's a separation of power between what is constitutional and what is not constitutional, and we see that with or without the positive law citation in the various titles. Okay, and when it has a positive law citation, we know that the courts can then use it as evidence of the law. What else is a positive law citation? Your signature on a contract is a positive law citation, meaning the law then is applied against you. Okay, and then you lose your right to tort. You lose a variety of rights, such as keeping your property even though you haven't paid property tax. You have a right to your property. That's a basic and fundamental right. But if you contract it away, you've lost the right to keep your property if you don't abide by the obligations in the contract. I know they've put us in a really bad situation with, being able to afford a home and being able to pay cash with the home because the prices are so high, and the prices are so high because of government regulation of all these contracts, which makes things completely unaffordable. In the old days, a debt only lasted 7 years, and after 7 years, it was considered to just be completely paid off. And I find it interesting that if someone puts a lien against your property, they can only keep it there for 7 years. After that, it has to come off. So information on contracts towards rights and let's go back to, well, I don't want to make this video too long. I think you get the idea, and I'm going to be starting a podcast on towards contracts, rights, stuff like that. So you'll be able to see these videos in the podcast. And like, share, subscribe.